gently join in studying ideas that can bring us closer, strengthen our connection, and help us feel your power and creativity. In the name of Jesus, amen. Okay, pick up where we left off and go from there. So let's see, last week we ended up with strong emotion, attitude, and imagination bring beliefs into reality, and stopped right, well, Nature of Personal Reality, Chapter 4, Session 621, I believe. And we stopped right above 12:07 a.m. However, that's it. And then now today we're going to start at the beginning of session 622. So that was a long session. So we'll make our little frame. Today's frame will include a portion at the beginning of session 622, and we'll discuss what Seth says about that. Today's date is the 9th of November. Chapter 4, session 622. Now this session was dictated October 18th, 1972, so almost, 40 years ago, 39 years ago, at 9:40 p.m. on a Wednesday. And these sessions occur in an apartment in Elmira, New York. And I'll start by reading, and we'll go from there.
Is this the list that I gave you?
Yeah. I use bookmarks, that way I got some of your writing. It says, now, good evening, and we will begin with dictation. You also communicate your beliefs to others, of course. When visitors enter your home, they do not see it exactly as you do, because they also view it through the screen of their beliefs. In your own environment, however, your personal beliefs will usually predominate. People with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs. You may meet with some misunderstanding when you suddenly decide to change your reality by changing your beliefs according to the circumstances. You may be going in a completely different direction than the group to which you belong. The others may feel it necessary to defend ideas that all of you previously took for granted. In such cases, your beliefs merged, and each individual has his or her own ideas about reality for reasons that seem valid. Needs are met. When you abruptly change your beliefs, then in the group you no longer have the same position. You are not playing that game any longer. In the group, you may suddenly cease to provide for the others a need that you satisfied earlier. This affects both intimate behavior and, say, social interactions. For a time, then, you may experience a feeling of loss as you move from one group of beliefs to another. However, others sharing your new beliefs will gravitate toward you and you to them. I will say more about this later in the book, but it explains, for example, why a diet watcher suddenly determined to lose weight may meet with veiled or even open resistance from family or friends. Why the person who makes new resolutions may find himself baffled by associates' ridicule. Why the alcoholic trying not to drink finds others tempting him quite openly or teasing him into indulgence by hidden tactics. When someone who has been ill starts on the road to recovery through changing his beliefs, he might be quite surprised to find even his dearest allies suddenly upset, reminding him of the, quote, reality, unquote, of his dire state for the same reasons. Because beliefs form reality, the structure of experience, any change in beliefs altering that structure initiates change to some extent, of course. The status quo which served a certain purpose is gone. New elements are introduced. Another creative process begins. Because your private beliefs are shared with others, because there is interaction, then any determined change of direction on your part is felt by others, and they will react in their own fashion. You are setting out to experience the most fulfilled reality that you can. To do this, you have hopefully begun to examine your beliefs. You may want others to change. In doing so, you begin with yourself. I told you to imagine a game in which you see yourself acting in line with the new desired belief. As you do so, see yourself affecting others in the new fashion. See them reacting to you in the new way. This is highly important because telepathically you are sending them interior messages. You are telling them that you are changing the conditions and behavior of your relationship. You are broadcasting your altered position. Some will be quite able to understand you at that level. There may be those who need the old framework, and someone, if not you, to play the part you played before. Those people will either drop out of your experience or you must drop them from yours. Once more, if you think of daily life as an ever-moving, three-dimensional painting with you as the artist, then you will realize that as your beliefs change, so will your experience. You must accept the idea completely, however, that your beliefs form your experience. Discard those beliefs that are not bringing you those effects you want. In the meantime, you will often be in the position of telling yourself that something is true in the face of physical data that seems completely contradictory. You may say, quote, I live amid abundance and am free from want, unquote, while your eyes tell you that the desk is piled with bills. You must realize that you are the one who produced that, quote, physical evidence, unquote, that still faces you, and you did so through your beliefs. So as you alter the belief, the physical evidence will gradually begin to, quote, prove, unquote, your new belief as faithfully as it did your old one. You must work with your own ideas. While there are general categories of beliefs and general reasons for them, you must become personally aware of your own. For no one person is completely like any other. The old beliefs served a purpose and fulfilled a need. As mentioned earlier, you may have believed that of itself, poverty was more spiritual than abundance, or that you were basically unworthy and should therefore punish yourself by being poor. Now, he takes a break there. We'll stop. There's like 2 pages worth of material I read, and out of all of those, somehow we want to try to distill down that 2 pages into a sentence that once again summarizes this so that we can remember what it is that we were just reading. So it's okay if it's repetitious. It's okay if it's similar to what we've learned before. There is one statement out of those 2 pages that he said we must believe, and even though it might be repetitious, I think we need to focus on that. Does anybody see that sentence? He underlined it in my book. You want me to read it again?
The sentence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Is it, you must accept the idea completely that your beliefs form your experience?
Yeah.
Well, I hear what you're saying. It seems to me that the sentence, people with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs, sums up the 2 pages of what you read.
It is in moving into that area. He's trying to introduce us to the idea that we affect others and that we have basically role-playing going on in these games. If we are aware already through our readings that beliefs form our experience, then we're ready to move on to what you said. And that is understanding that the experience that we're talking about forming includes other people.
Well, right. And people with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs. People with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs. So, when a person changes their beliefs, sometimes that means that they need to change who they're hanging around with.
Right. And or depending on, in my opinion, the needs of the people they're with, they can stay with the same people as long as the people are aware of the change that's occurring and they can adjust accordingly.
Right. And I think that's very important.
Right. So let's focus on that part of these 2 pages. And where do you see that?
At the bottom of page 89, after the pause, it's right towards the beginning of session 622. It's like at the beginning of the 2nd paragraph once you start reading.
Oh, yes, right at the beginning. Okay. People with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs. All right, let's say we take that sentence and that either we leave it as it is and that's the one we use, or we see if we can make it more personal and maybe less words. I don't know if we can though. People with like ideas reinforce each other's beliefs. So if we could put, instead of each other's beliefs, if we could put my beliefs, people with like ideas reinforce my beliefs. At least that makes it more personal. And then that when somebody reads it, whether it's me or somebody else, it goes in as a personal statement.
Right.
That sounds good to me.
Just that little change. People with like ideas reinforce my beliefs. That sound all right?
Yes.
I think so.
All right, let's write that down. people with like ideas reinforce beliefs. I only have one question on this. The word like. Sometimes similar works better, but I'm not sure. Does like sound okay with you? Do you think people understand like better than the word similar?
I think they understand both. Like is used more though.
It is. So that it's shorter and more concise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Sounds okay to me. I'm good. Does anybody have any questions on what we read? Okay, well, we'll mark at this break, just make a little note in your book, 11/9/2011, and then we'll pick it up there next time.
At the pause?
Not where we are, way down where we take the break at 10:15 to 10:30, at the end of where I read.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Maddie, make sure and remember that people with like ideas reinforce your beliefs so that when you get older, it's important to monitor what other people are saying so that you can determine if you want to spend more time or less time with them. So somebody that's always saying, oh, I never get this done, or I never do this right, or nothing never works, you'll want to evaluate if that fits into your belief system for you personally. And if it doesn't, and you talk to them and they don't seem open to changing their beliefs, then it might be best for you to not associate with
Or if you're more positive and they are like that, they're gravitating towards you because they want to change, you can find that out too.
right, yeah. However, if they don't change, then
Okay. Dear Lord, thank you for these few minutes to read and move towards a better understanding of how life works in our social interactions, and that doing that can help us have a more fulfilling, creative life, thereby strengthening our connection